So Rob Maaddi is here. Let's get into the conversation with him, as now that this team, Rob, what's going on, man, as we have, all right, free agency, Eagles not a factor. We have the draft is now in the books. So I guess the next part is what's next for this team and where they kind of see themselves. And listening to Howie Roseman the 2 times that he spoke over the weekend, did you get a better sense of where, Rob, this franchise now sees themselves entering the 2021 season?
Yeah, Mike, and you know what? I think they see themselves in a more winnable position than a lot of us view them, because I looked at this team, and you and I have talked about it. I see them anywhere from a 5 to 7 win team, but I think they look at this division, they look at the players that they have, the coaching staff, the energy, the excitement level, the talent, and they feel that there's a possibility they might be able to compete in what should still be a bad division, where maybe 9 wins you the NFC East. So I think they view themselves in a more positive light. That remains to be seen if that can play out. But when Howie talks about or making that comparison with the cornerback situation to 2017, when they went out and got Ronald Darby right in August, shortly before the season started, I know going back to 2017, coming off the 7-9 2016 season, I think most of us thought they were a 9-7 team at best. I know I had them at 9-7. Take the next step, get into the playoffs, be a wild card. I don't know anybody who envisioned them winning a Super Bowl or even getting close to a Super Bowl then. So that's not to say this team is at that level or anywhere near that level. But I think they're looking at it like we're going to be better than most people expect us to be. So there are holes that we can fill that may be filled through some veterans at some point.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a second, because Roseman did say, hey, in 2016 they told us it was going to be 5 years. It took us 12 months. So that was his way of kind of saying you questioned us then, your question is now. They have a lot of similar paths that they can take to do some of the things. I mean, they went out and got Patrick Robinson. No one thought a lot of him. He turned out to be a huge player for them. You know, Anthony Harris is a guy that's been a player in this league. They went out and signed under the radar. Same with Wilson. And he kind of indicated, I really thought it was pretty clear that they don't think they have a corner on this roster, but we'll do whatever we have to find one.
Yeah, and I kind of got that also out of him. I think Avonte Maddox is probably ticketed for the nickel spot, where he actually had some success, and perhaps working in a new system with a new coaching staff, new defensive coordinator, being away from the Jim Schwartz defense and the way the cornerbacks played then might be able to help Avonte and some of the other guys. But I don't know that they have an answer right now on the outside, along with Darius Slay. Zach McPherson is a guy who he's coming in here as a 4th-round pick. You can't pencil him in as a starter. Can he work his way into that role? Perhaps. But would it be best to probably ease him into that role? I think so. So I would anticipate that the Eagles are on the lookout for a veteran corner. And you know what, Mike? It doesn't have to be a guy at the tail end of his career. There are some free agents out there who are in their mid-20s who you could bring in and have for 3, 4, 5 years down the road.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to say that, you know, I know a lot of people keep asking me, hey, Steven Nelson, Richard Sherman, Brashad Breeland, Garyon Conley, somebody's going to pick up one of those guys, and I wouldn't be shocked if Howie was, of course, making those calls, you know, and we know that now you don't have to give up the comp pick, so it'd probably be short, but it could be a trade, too. I want to ask you, because you asked him about Zach Ertz. Number one, are you surprised Zach Ertz is still here? Let's start with that.
I am, and because really, if you're going to show loyalty to a player who has meant so much for this organization, the time to move him has passed. The time to where he can go into a situation at around the free agency period or around the draft where he can settle in, or he could have picked his spot or whatever it could have been, that's passed. So now where they're at right now, the Eagles have clearly drawn a line, Mike, where we're going to do what's in the best interest of the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be critical of a team wanting to do what's in the best interest of the team. But we've seen situations in the past where they released Malcolm Jenkins. They released Deshaun Jackson several years ago. The Houston Texans released J.J. Watt. The Eagles could have released Zach Ertz, but instead They wanted a premium pick. They wanted a third-round pick. Teams are very aware of the situation. They know that this relationship has deteriorated to a point where there's going to be a divorce. We just don't know when. So more teams are more likely, if they want Zach Ertz, rather than trade for him. Nobody's giving up a third-round pick, and clearly nobody wanted to give up even a day 3 pick this past draft. So the Eagles are going to be left in a situation where you either take whatever teams give you, or you just part ways with Zach after June 1st, which will help the salary cap situation a little bit. But I don't see any scenario, none. I would be absolutely stunned to see Zach Ertz back next year.
Wow. All right. So that was pretty definitive from you anyway. Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press covers the Eagles. Now, I mean, could they use Jordan Matthews a couple of years ago in a third-round pick to get Ronald Darby? Could Ertz be utilized in that way?
Absolutely. When you look at what Jordan Matthews was in 2017 compared to, yes, he was younger, but Zach Ertz is only 30 years old. He's a tight end. We've seen tight ends play into their mid to late 30s, from Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez, Gronk right now, Jason Witten. So a guy like Zach Ertz, who takes care of his body, who's in peak physical condition, who wants to wear that gold jacket someday, I think he's got several good years ahead of him. So packaging Zach Ertz and a pick, I don't know what pick, but you got a plethora of picks, right? Couldn't get you someone if you don't want to dive into the free agent market at cornerback.
10 picks next year, by the way. Already 10 picks next year through trades this year and stuff from the past. You know,
3 possible ones that they're going to use for Aaron Rodgers, right? No, we're not going there.
Come on, man. Don't get everybody all fired up. You said
that's just speculation. It's just speculation. I'm just not a report.
You said you would be shocked if Ertz is back, but if he is back, does that
not happening, Mike? No.
All right. Well, play along. If he was here, does that tell you that they think that they are better than everybody else thinks?
Well, it would tell me, if Zach Ertz is back, that the ability to forgive and forget and move on, small miracles do happen. I've seen them happen. So it would take a small miracle for that to happen.
So in other words, Zach Ertz would want to be here.
Yeah. If it were to happen, yeah, that's the Eagles saying, hey, we're better than you think we are. We're better off. The Eagles are, as a football team, better off in 2021 with Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert at tight end than Dallas Goedert and a 6th or 7th round pick or releasing Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just football knowledge, right? But the situation's at a point now where that's why I say I think it would take a minor miracle.
All right. You asked Howie Roseman on Saturday, I think it was. Maybe it was Friday. I got my days kind of – but you asked him about the perception, if he's aware of the public perception. Like, for instance, we have people today say they would rather the team stink just to fire Roseman and get rid of him. I said, what if they won? It's like they don't want him to win because they don't want to have to acquiesce to say he did a good job. So is he – you asked him about his public perception. He gave you a pretty interesting answer.
Yeah, and he went into, I've been busy. It's Friday. Kids waking me up early, and I loved how Nick Sirianni just jumped in there and said, "Well, Rob, my contractor gave me a fist bump or a high five or whatever it was." So I know he was happy with the pick. But Howie is far more aware of his public perception, and it's been documented in various reports. And he's very aware of his perception than he'll let on. And he wasn't going to let on, but I was trying to extend him a little bit, like, hey, how because we were coming off Devontae Smith. So I did ask him that question Friday because we were coming off Devontae Smith when everybody was like, Howie's the man. He got a first-round pick. He got Devontae Smith. Look at what he did. How was he able to do this? And it was a high up until they draft Landon Dickerson, and then they go different directions, and then people are bashing Howie again. But yeah, he's aware, man. He's aware.
All right, so you led me right into this because in the past we would bash them for making a bad pick, So he is now saying, yeah, in the past we went off our board. We took guys that we needed, and we took them because we needed them, not because we thought they were the best guy. Now we're taking the best guy, and now you're ripping me.
He's got a point. He does have a point.
Right.
But
so does he have a point that's like, hey, I took the best guy. We took Rasul Douglas in the past because we needed a corner. He might not have been the best player there, but we needed a corner, so we took him. Now we took the best player, and now you're ripping me.
Yeah, he's got a point there, but I don't know. I'm okay with the Landon Dickerson pick. I'm fine with bringing in a guy who, at that point, I looked at Christian Barmore. I liked him, defensive tackle, local kid, went to my alma mater, St. John Newman in South Philly. But Landon Dickerson he's got so much talent, and we will continue to say this. We'll say if he's healthy, and Mike, if he's healthy, he's a first-round pick. If he's healthy, he's a guy who can contribute next year because the Eagles have always had injuries on the offensive line. He can play the interior. He started on the exterior, so he can do that. Now, should an offensive lineman be the highest rated guy on the board when they get to pick 37? Hey, that's what their board said. They took the gamble. I'm not going to kill them over Landon Dickerson. I was shocked they took Devontae Smith. I really thought they were going to stick to their trenches in the first round, and I was hoping that they would trade down and take somebody in the trenches rather than trade up or stay put, because I just didn't think they would go wide receiver. I didn't think they would go corner, and I thought they would take an O lineman or D lineman. So I was like, all right, if you're going to do that, get another pick out of it. But They shocked me. They surprised me.
Well, and then Howie went down that road to say, look, I know fans are going to be mad because if we take offensive and defensive linemen, but I'm not apologizing to that for anybody. That's how we won the Super Bowl, and that's how we'll do it again. They drafted four? They drafted an offensive lineman, 2 D tackles, and 2 D ends. So, I mean, they're staying true to their roots of winning.
They are, and that's been an organizational philosophy for a long period of time. Now, yeah, that's how you build teams. You build them through the draft, you build them through the trenches, but you got to hit on these picks. So Landon Dickerson has to be healthy. You can't mess up another second-round pick. It can't happen. It's happened too often in the near past, with the exception of Miles Sanders. So they need Landon Dickerson to be healthy and to be a guy who steps in and starts. They need Milton Williams to be a guy who can contribute right away, especially, Mike, based after what happened with Tom Donahoe and the whole fist bump fiasco.
Yeah, all right. So I was getting to that because obviously a national NFL reporter put out that Donahue was perplexed by the whole situation, and he's saying it was the best draft that we've had in the 10 years I've been here, the way that the room was run. So obviously they're trying to put the fires out too. What are you hearing about? Obviously, it's a perception thing because I'm not all that surprised that, like, hey, Mike Gill and Rob Maaddi are in a draft room together. Rob likes McNeil. Gill likes Williams. All right, we don't agree.
We arm wrestle over it, Mike.
I lose that one. But if we fist, you might say, you take McNeil. I don't want him. Like, I didn't look at it like I look like that's probably goes on everywhere. So, but it's a perception problem the Eagles have, correct?
It is a perception problem that the Eagles have. And yes, the fact that it happens in so many different places, we didn't see it on video, but arguments happen. Bill Parcells, it's been well known that he used to butt heads with guys. So we know that it happens, but because it happens in other places, doesn't mean we here in Philly should dismiss it as, it's water under the bridge. It's no big deal because of what's happened in Philadelphia, because of not just the perception, but what's been reported that Howie Roseman is somebody who listens too much to his analytics, doesn't listen to his scouts, doesn't listen to the coaches. So when you come into a draft with all of these perception issues and then something minor like that happens, that's going to get magnified, and I think rightfully so. And I'll tell you what, we talked a little bit earlier about how Howie is well aware of his perception. Mm-hmm. I can tell you that I'm pretty certain Tom Donahoe did not he heard about that. I'm sure he heard about it.
Oh, yeah. I said I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Donahoe, who knew he was even still here, was not here much longer.
Oh, yeah. I anticipate that email at some point or something that says parted ways, or that could happen. Again, not a report, speculation.
Right. Rob Maaddi also covers the Phillies. How long have you been covering the Phillies? Have you ever seen a guy not written on the lineup card? Now, I manage baseball, and I have to write it in by hand, and I don't think I've ever done that.
No, and I played baseball my whole life. I've covered the Phillies now for 22 years. I've never seen anything like that. I thought it was interesting, though, afterwards, because it happened to the Brewers a couple of weeks ago. So here I am saying I've never seen that in baseball in all my life, and it actually happened to Craig Counsell and the Brewers. And Counsell said afterwards that on his lineup card, Eniel De Los Santos was on it. So it was only on the umpire's card, and it's computer generated. Yeah, it's a computer generated thing from the Major League Baseball that goes to the umpires. But as Joe Girardi said afterwards, ultimately it falls on him, and other people see it, but he's got to see it. He didn't see it. It's strange. It's crazy. They're lucky they got the win.
Yeah.
But that's another. It's another example of, we had a couple weeks ago where Joe forgot about visiting the mound twice, and now this. And I just look out west and I see Gabe Kapler and the San Francisco Giants leading the division, and I go,
Yep. I brought that point up a little earlier, and I would be, hey, a lot of people didn't like Gabe for, I would assume, his looks.
I would talk about that on shows sometimes, Mike, and I really felt that way. People did not. There were some people who just flat out hated Gabe Kapler because, I take care of myself, right? I'm a fitness dude. Gabe Kapler made me feel bad about myself. I will walk into his office, and I'd be like, my man's, he's jacked, he's ripped, and he's a good looking dude, he's well spoken, all that. And the haters gonna hate, right? Yep. So I think that was part of it. That played into it. He wasn't a Philly guy. He's such a California dude. But at the end of the day, he did not fit in Philadelphia. But he's doing well right now in San Fran. If it's early in the season, it's a small sample size. I had no issue with Joe Girardi being hired as Phillies manager. I don't think any of us had any issues with Joe Girardi. And I don't think these small little minor things are a big deal. But he does have a better team, and Gabe's having more success with lesser talent. It just makes you just shrug your shoulders and go, interesting.
All right, he's Rob Maaddi. Great stuff covering this Eagles offseason. Should be interesting the rest of the way. We'll see all the battles unfold, mini camps, training camp. He'll be here before we know it. And, of course, Rob, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. All right, Rob, see you, man.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.